I had the opportunity and the pleasure of spending some time with a transgender woman recently, social engagement. She seemed like a very bright, lovely person. It occurred to me as we were talking that certain previously held ideas of mine, or beliefs even, that may have remained hidden unbeknownst to me were surfacing. Instead of keeping what was going on in my mind to myself, I resolved to share, bearing my misguided notions, and I was glad, I was encouraged by how this was received. I would say it was taken with charming ease, good humour and dignity. Sitting down and talking with a trans person is not something of the everyday for me, but sitting and talking to this person was pleasurable and insightful. If you don't find humans interesting, you're not paying attention. Talking to people in the flesh is important. Yeah. No shit, Captain Obvious, you might be saying right now. What I'm trying to get at is, you can learn this and that reading various articles about trans awareness or watching documentaries about how certain subgroups are treated in various countries and cultures, but there's no substitute for sitting down and giving someone your undivided attention. Another massively obvious statement incoming. You ready? People are individuals and should be treated as such. Reducing someone to the status of spokesperson for a certain marginalised group in society, there's a tendency to do that, not just in the so-called mainstream media, but out in the public, at work, and in everyday social situations, I suppose. Some people don't identify with traditional gender roles. Some biological males don't identify as boys or men. Gender is socially constructed, sex is biological. It's not so difficult to understand, just that truth in itself. To say that transgender people have been treated terribly throughout history would again be to state the obvious. And it's still the case today. The murder rates for trans people in the US is horrific. And then there are those in the medical community, respected voices still clinging to the idea that transgenderism is a mental disorder or illness of the mind. Gender dysphoria, an area of growing research, uncovering new knowledge. We're talking about a medical condition, not a mental illness. A mismatch between sex and gender can and does cause discomfort problems. But yet, trans people taken as a group are not disabled people. Are there mentally ill trans people? I'm sure there are. Are there trans people who are suffering from depression? They're suffering worsened by oppressive social conditions. Of course, yes, but you can't tar everyone with the same brush. Yeah. Cliche. Sorry about that. Yeah. I don't know what it's like to have a mismatch between my gender and sex, or the challenges and dangers arising out of that personally. But it's my observation that many do it with courage and dignity. The path of the bigot is, I would say, the road of the coward, to dismiss a whole group of people as sick or perverted or mentally ill without taking the time to learn anything, listening to personal stories. Treating humans with personal dignity, fellow humans, not subhumans, or almost but not quite humans. Yeah. Having said all that, I've seen the reactions in person. Not in everyone, but in enough people to be taken aback by it. Many men are scared of trans women, are very uncomfortable being around trans women. But it's not just the men, no. I've heard some pretty vile chatter from, I won't call them ladies, women I worked with years ago. Hateful stuff, loaded with vulgar assumptions. How hard is it to be civil, even if you don't want to be pleasant, or friendly, whatever? And even if you don't want anything to do with trans people, why attack? Why the hate?